Well, I got that YOLO demo adapted to my, Astro-based, Scratch project collection. And, I mean, it's not as slick as the original demo because you can't yet switch to live camera, although that's probably the next thing I'm going to do. You can't even tell it what file to run the detection on. I put just like a sample video in an R2 bucket. I kept that bounding box overlay is basically straight from that original repository. There are a few changes. In fact, because I haven't yet made kind of the surrounding demo a React app or a React component, I had to wire it up a little bit differently. Instead of passing a prop that contains the bounding box metrics or dimensions or whatever, I'm firing an event on the document, just like a custom event that contains that. And so I had to, wire that all up in an effect. And yeah, I mean, it works great. One main hang up yesterday was actually unrelated. I think when I switched, everything used to be statically generated, and then with those iCloud shared albums, I had to switch over to the Cloudflare SSR adapter. And once I did that, some kind of subtle bugs crept in. Some of them are not present on the dev server. They're only present on the live site. Like when I was trying to do Astro rewrite from my root route to the iCloud shared album demo. It worked great on the dev server. On Cloudflare, like on the live site, it returned this error, this weird type error. Basically, if I'd made that route dynamic too, I think that probably would have fixed it, but I didn't think of that at the time, so I just went back to my kind of blank index page for a while. So that was one weird thing. Then yesterday, I noticed on the PTZ demo, probably also related to switching over to the SSR adapter, some code that I had in an onload handler for a WebSocket, a client-side WebSocket connection, was somehow being run on the dev server, and it worked fine. This one was the inverse. It worked fine on the live site, but it would break on the dev server. So it's like, even though that code was unambiguously in a client-side script tag in an Astro component, for some reason the Vite dev server was trying to run that event handler. So I had to guard it with a check to see if window was undefined, which makes no sense, but that fixed it. That almost seems like it has to be an Astro or Vite bug, but what do I know? With this YOLO demo, the YOLO model itself, like the ONNX file, is only 11 megabytes. So I'm serving that as just like a regular asset from my public folder. But the runtime that the model runs on is this giant WASM file. And so if you install it, if you install ONNX runtime web as an NPM package, you end up getting this around 25 megabyte runtime bundled with your app. And Cloudflare's asset size limit for workers is 25 megabytes. And so this was just barely over the limit, which prevented me from deploying. I tried, it seems like there's got to be a way to tell Vite, like the code actually accounts for the fact that it might not be bundled, and it has like the link to the CDN is like hard-coded in the code. And so I figured if I could just remove that file from the bundle, it would probably work, and I think it would have. But I couldn't remove it. I think with Vite configuration, you can treat a whole package as external. You can, I think, treat JavaScript modules as external. Tell it not to bundle them. But with other kinds of assets, including WASM, at least this is my understanding after fiddling with it, there's not really an easy way to tell Vite, like, don't add this to the bundle, don't include this file in the bundle. I did the whole external configuration, it just didn't work. I ended up just not using the ONNX runtime web NPM package at all. I just imported straight from the CDN, so that way Vite doesn't bother with it at all. So those were kind of the main headaches. But yeah, I think the next thing is get it running on like a live camera feed. That's a whole lot more interesting than having, I think uploading a file is kind of interesting, but not as interesting as the camera thing. So, and this all runs in the browser. I mean, there's nothing being sent to the server. you know, including, you know, in the original demo, that includes not only the live camera feed, but also like if you know, upload a video, it doesn't upload it to the server, it just creates an object URL in the browser. I don't think anybody really cares. You know, I might, you know, if this becomes like a demo that I feature, I guess I should probably explain that. You know, and I guess I still haven't really envisioned how it's going to differ all that significantly from the original. It's not going to use the same component library. It's not going to use Tailwind. I intend to construct kind of the main demo, like that React component myself. It won't be, you know, it won't just be that demo, but it'll be, I haven't yet envisioned how it's going to differ all that substantially. I think probably a good first step would be the ability to switch out models. Try this model, try that model. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of directions I could take it. So, anyway.